There is plenty of free agents for teams to pick from, but which ones should your team sign?
I think adding weapons isn't a bad thing, and it feels like Will Fuller knows that if he goes to an Aaron Rodgers offense, he's going to be in a good spot.
This is a deep class loaded with star-like talent on both sides of the ball. Here is one big-name free agent that your favorite NFL team must try and sign this offseason. Arizona Cardinals, J.C. Jackson. The Cardinals are just a couple of pieces away from being a bona fide Super Bowl contender. Adding a top 5 corner like Jackson, who's a ball-hawking specialist with top-notch coverage skills, is one of these pieces Arizona needs. Atlanta Falcons, Randy Gregory. The Falcons have holes all over the roster. They can address one major need with the number 8 pick, they can address another in free agency. Atlanta needs pass rushers to help Grady Jarrett. Dallas standout defensive end Randy Gregory would be a nice complement to Jarrett. Baltimore Ravens, Chandler Jones. The Ravens have a knack for taking on aging veterans and maximizing their overall skill sets. It worked out with Anquan Baldwin, Mike Wallace, and Calais Campbell. Now it's time to take a chance on Chandler Jones. The Ravens need to upgrade their pass rush with Campbell, Brandon Williams, and Justin Houston all hitting free agency. A healthy Jones is good for double-digit sacks each year. A 3-year deal in the $40 to $50 million range makes sense for both sides. Buffalo Bills, Von Miller. Mario Addison led the Bills with 7 sacks last season. No other Buffalo player reached 4. In other words, pass rush help is needed. Von Miller turned back the clock in the postseason. Alongside Aaron Donald, he powered the Los Angeles Rams to a Super Bowl championship. Adding Miller to the league's best defense in 2021 would be a downright scary thought for the rest of the AFC. Miller alone can take over a game and help Buffalo neutralize Patrick Mahomes once and for all. Carolina Panthers, Brandon Scherff. Doesn't matter who Carolina's QB is next year, they won't have any success behind this mess of an offensive line. Carolina's main priority should be to upgrade the O-line before they settle on a new QB. Washington Commanders guard Brandon Scherff is exactly what the Panthers need, and they have the cap space to outbid most of the other interested teams for him. Chicago Bears, Ryan Jensen. Upgrading the O-line is the main priority for new GM Ryan Poles. Tampa Bay Buccaneers center Ryan Jensen should be target number 1 when the market opens. Jensen is feisty, nasty, and never afraid to muck it up with the opposition. His style of play is exactly what the Bears need, given their need to protect a youngster Justin Fields. The Cincinnati Bengals, TERRON Armstead. Armstead is the crown jewel of offensive linemen in free agency. And as you may have noticed, the Bengals' offensive line was awful last year. Including the postseason, Joe Burrow was sacked 70 times. And yet, the Bengals were just a couple of plays away from winning the Super Bowl. Cincy should hand Armstead a blank check. Seriously, whatever he wants. He's one of the game's elite offensive tackles and would single-handedly change the dynamic of this O-line. Cleveland Browns, JADEVEON CLOWNEY. Clowney's 1-year prove-it deal in Cleveland turned out to be worthwhile for both sides. He regained his star-like form and posted 9 sacks and a pair of forced fumbles. Clowney was instrumental in Cleveland's turnaround on defense. He's the perfect option as Myles Garrett's sidekick. The Browns may as well commit to Clowney long-term rather than try to find a suitable replacement, which is easier said than done. Dallas Cowboys, Austin Corbett. The Cowboys won't be able to make any significant splashes due to their cap situation. The best option for Jerry and Stephen Jones is to find a starting caliber offensive lineman for cheap. Veteran guard Austin Corbett held down his end of the bargain in the Rams Super Bowl championship season. Lining him up with Tyron Smith and Zach Martin might help Corbett take his game to yet another level. Denver Broncos, Duane Brown. Hey, now that the Broncos have Russell Wilson, their next priority should be revamping the O-line. Why not bring in Wilson's former Seattle Seahawks companion, Duane Brown? He should be affordable, and he'd certainly be an upgrade over most other linemen Denver's used over the years. Detroit Lions, Sammy Watkins. Amon-Ra St. Brown, TJ Hawkinson, and DeAndre Swift round out a stellar group of offensive weapons. Now, what if they gave Jared Goff just one more burner with plenty of cap space to work with? The Lions need a true number 2 wideout, and Watkins' speed and ability to stretch the field would be the perfect fit in Detroit. Green Bay Packers, Will Fuller V. With Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams back in the fold, the Packers' next goal should be to add to their offensive arsenal. Will Fuller could be a cheap option after a wasted 2021 season that saw him play just 2 games. The Packers need a true number 2 wideout, and Fuller's speed and ability to stretch the field would make him a dazzling fit in this Green Bay offense. Houston Texans, Carlton Davis III. If Houston wants to spend money, It should be on defense. Bucs standout Carlton Davis III was the team's best corner during the short but sweet Tom Brady era. He's not going to rack up the interceptions, but he excels in zone coverage and has the size and speed to keep up with the opposition's top wideout. In other words, he is a perfect fit for Lovie Smith's defense. Indianapolis Colts, Jameis Winston. With Carson Wentz officially gone, the Colts would be advised to target the best QB on the free agent market. This year, it's Jameis Winston. Sean Payton and the New Orleans Saints did a wonderful job helping Winston cut back on those turnovers that plagued him in Tampa. You'd think Frank Reich could find similar success with Winston, especially after sticking him alongside one of the league's best offensive lines and running backs. Jacksonville Jaguars, Hassan Reddick. If Jacksonville's gonna spend big in free agency, they need to target younger players that are just entering their primes. And Hassan Reddick checks that box. Reddick followed up his 12.5 sack season in Arizona with an 11 sack season in Carolina. He's finally broken out, and he'll only be 27 at the start of 2022. He's still relatively young and should flourish alongside workhorse linebacker Josh Allen in the front seven. Kansas City Chiefs, Joe Hayden. The Chiefs won't have much cap space remaining after retaining Orlando Brown Jr. They will have to go bargain hunting, and longtime standout corner Joe Hayden should be available at a reasonable price. Hayden remains a steady lockdown corner who can at least limit the opposition's top receivers. The Chiefs have lacked quality cover corners for years. Hayden is the perfect target for a team in win-now mode. Las Vegas Raiders, Juju Smith-Schuster. The Raiders could use another playmaking wideout to complement the dynamic pass-catching duo of Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller. Smith-Schuster would give Derek Carr a nice third-down security blanket. He's a shifty slot receiver who can work the middle of the field and open up space for Vegas's other offensive weapons. Los Angeles Chargers, Devondre Campbell. Fixing up the front seven should be the Bolts' main goal. Do-it-all linebacker Devondre Campbell is coming off an unexpected breakout season in Green Bay. Campbell would help the Chargers' leaky run defense while adding additional pass rushing support to Joey Bosa. You need guys like Campbell with Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Derek Carr in your division. Los Angeles Rams, Odell Beckham Jr. The cap-strapped Super Bowl champs won't be able to make any big moves in free agency. Their best option is to use the limited cap space to retain however many key pieces they can from their 2021 roster. Odell Beckham Jr. was a beautiful addition to this offense. Unfortunately, his ACL tear in the Super Bowl will limit his market. So, it makes sense for the two sides to sign a one-year deal, allowing Beckham to reset his market for 2023 free agency. Miami Dolphins, Allen Robinson. If Mike McDaniel is truly committed to building around Tua Tagovailoa, then Miami needs to upgrade the weapons around him. Jalen Waddle, Devontae Parker, and Mike Gesicki are a nice start, but why stop there? Adding Allen Robinson would give Tua 4 Pro Bowl caliber pass catchers. If y'all look at the 2020 Bucs or the 2021 Rams and Bengals, you'll realize you can never, ever have too many prolific weapons for your QB. And hey, no state tax in Florida gives Miami an advantage if they want to negotiate with A-Rob. Minnesota Vikings, Stephon Gilmore. If the Vikings want to end a 3-year playoff drought, they're gonna have to make some drastic changes to that defense. Adding the 2019 Defensive Player of the Year to shore up your secondary would be a nice starting point. Minnie has lacked a quality lockdown corner for a while now. Gilmore may not be the game's top coverman anymore, but he still has some good years left in him. Minnie could sure use him against Davante Adams twice a year. That much we know. New England Patriots, Darius Williams. With J.C. Jackson likely leaving, Bill Belichick will have to prioritize finding a suitable replacement. He's not going to spend crazy money, which makes Darius Williams a realistic target. Williams was a nice compliment to Jalen Ramsey during his 3 years with the Rams. Belichick should be able to help Williams take his game to another level. Adding Super Bowl champ on a 3-year deal worth around $25 million makes sense here. New Orleans Saints, Marcus Williams. The Saints locked up superstar corner Marshawn Lattimore last season. Now, it's time to retain the other half of their lockdown secondary. Williams just seems to get better every single year. He's a rising star who will serve as a foundation piece for many years to come, regardless of where he plays. Yes, QB is still a priority in NOLA, but that shouldn't stop them from signing Williams long-term. New York Giants, EMMANUEL OGBAH. Reshaping the defense is a must for the G-Men. That includes adding pass rushers, and Dolphins standout EMMANUEL OGBAH is one of the best in that department. Ogbah's coming off back-to-back 9-sack seasons. Pairing him with 2021 rookie sensation Azeez Ojulari could take this unit to a whole new level. The G-Men have the cap space to bring in Ogbaugh on a lucrative deal too. New York Jets, Quandre Diggs. Marcus May is a gunner, and the Jets will have to overhaul their secondary. Bringing in Diggs, who's coming off a second straight Pro Bowl nod, would be a nice start. The Jets lack playmaking defensive backs who can hold their own in coverage. Add Diggs, draft a defensive back in round 1, and suddenly they're all set in the secondary. Philadelphia Eagles, DJ Chark. The Philadelphia Eagles have a true number 1 wideout in 2021 first-round pick Devontae Smith. Now it's time to get some added support on the outside. The Eagles have 3 first-round picks, so they should use at least one of them on a wideout. But why not add another pass catcher in free agency? DJ Chark would be an absolute steal for whoever signs him. The massive, talented wideout could be had for cheap after struggling in 2020 and missing most of the 2021 campaign with a fractured ankle. Pittsburgh Steelers, Laken Tomlinson. Pittsburgh will want to fix up an O-line that was ranked a woeful 26th overall by Pro Football Focus in 2021. With limited cap space, however, they'll likely have to explore the second tier of free agent linemen. Veteran guard Laken Tomlinson makes sense here. He allowed just 2 sacks on 1,094 offensive snaps last year, per PFF. He would be a welcome addition to a young, rather inexperienced pass protection group in Pittsburgh. San Francisco 49ers, Tyrann Mathieu. Everyone knows how scary good that 49ers pass rush is, but could you imagine if they had a better secondary to give their linebackers and linemen an extra second to get to the quarterback? That's what makes Tyrann Mathieu the ideal free agent for San Francisco. The 3-time Pro Bowler is a game changer all over the field, and DeMarco Ryans could use him as an occasional pass rusher as well, similar to what Steve Spagnuolo did in KC. Seattle Seahawks, Connor Williams. Well, Russell Wilson's now gone. Seattle can now use the cap space to address one of their biggest weaknesses for years, the offensive line. Williams would be a great addition to this group. He allowed just 1 sack and 948 offensive snaps last year, per PFF. Williams is also just entering his age 25 season. His prime years are still ahead of him. He could be a potential long-term piece for Seattle and their next franchise QB. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Mitch Trubisky. The Bucs will have to find a cheap option to replace the retired Tom Brady. Not sure if a reunion with Winston makes sense here, so they'll settle on the next best free agent quarterback. Trubisky was frustratingly inconsistent in Chicago, but at the end of the day, 2 playoff berths are 2 playoff berths. Bruce Arians could probably get something out of Trubisky. May as well add a veteran to the QB room to open up the competition for Kyle Trask. Tennessee Titans, Alex Kappa. Kappa was a reliable guard for Tom Brady in Tampa Bay, but it's time for him to get paid, so he'll likely price himself out of town. Ryan Tannehill was sacked 47 times last season. The Titans missed Jack Conklin and are still feeling the effects of the failed Isaiah Wilson pick. Adding Kappa to upgrade the O-line would sure make Tannehill and Derrick Henry 2 very happy men. Washington Commanders, Charvarius Ward. Washington's number 1 priority was adding a quarterback, which they did with the Carson Wentz trade. Next up, they need to fix a pass defense that finished near the bottom of the NFL in 2021. Signing Ward would go a long way towards accomplishing that, as he excelled in one-on-one coverage during his time in KC. That's just the type of corner that Ron Rivera's defense could really use. But which free agent do you want your favorite NFL team to sign this offseason? Join us in the comments section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.